Okay, so that's yeah. Okay, so let's go here and here and here and here and let's see, go over here.
So it's ready. Are we ready to put it somewhere up there? To make sure there's a plug like behind there. Okay.
And here we go.
You are the operator of this, so you're gonna read all kinds of stuff and stuff.
And let's see. Hello, everybody. Hello. Isn't it crazy? On YouTube, Shine Kelly says, "Isn't it crazy that Liv is so arrogant that she believes everything revolves on herself, anyone else?" And then she got cursed and looked scared when EO faces her at SummerSlam. I mean, yeah, I'm going to talk about that. It's pretty interesting how she disregarded that curse. Lone Rebel says, "What's up, Ryder? How's your demon going, my friend?" You should have seen me on AX. I was rubbing it in, and I really didn't care if I tick people off. Let me see how it is over here. Maybe get my TikTok up too. Y'all really should have saw me when I saw William lose, or you actually should have saw me when I saw Danhausen came out first. But I'll get to that. Where is it? I am not posting it. I'm going to go here. Senor on the TikTok says, "Redondo JD that Liv." Yeah, and Liv really didn't think that it was going to affect her. So we have a new look. I was trying to get another screen up, so that's why I was late. But that teaches me not to switch right before going. But it is what it is. JD says now the Judgment Day is going to break up. I really don't think they're going to break up. Triple H likes his faction so much, too much for that. But that's just me thinking that. Because if they really wanted to break it up, they could have been done that. There's a reason why they keep it around. Same thing with the Bloodline. And all these other factions around here. Shan Kelly says Liv is going to blame everyone but herself. First Judgment Day is going to get tired of her soon. Like, they're almost already there. Like, Raquel had to call attention to, you know, the vibes were real last Monday, so we'll see how it happens now. So, let me go on and get started, shall we? So, let me go here. Oh, I need to share. What am I doing? Before I get started. Share that to the X. Actually, I just need to close that. I want to copy this. Copy that. And I am going to do a pose one moment because, of course, I am never organized like I should. Okay, so there's that. I'm going to post that. Now that that's done, so let's go, shall we? Welcome, welcome. My name is Brighter Maven. I am the host of the Wrestling Liberties podcast. I cover all things Judgment Day. Don, Liv, Raquel, Finn, JD. Well, no longer Finn. He's not there anymore. But poor Carlito. Though Finn could be joining OG Judgment Day on SmackDown. So it all tracks. Um, I'm going to be playing a light Star Ocean 2 um, game during this, but I won't be playing it super heavy. I'm just going to talk because there's a lot to talk about, and then I'm going to talk about what happened on Night of Champions, the fallout of Night of Champions, what could happen on Monday Night Raw, and things like that. Let me go up to my config screen. I'm just gonna see where I'm at. Okay, I got 0 stuff. So Night of Champions gave us a very interesting Judgment Day receipt. Liv Morgan lost Queen of the Ring to IYO SKY. That part matters. But the bigger story is not just that Liv lost. The bigger story is that Danhausen cursed Liv. Liv denied the curse over and over, and then immediately said she needed to call Dominik. That is where the story gets interesting, because Dom has already been cursed. JD has already been electrocuted. Dom and JD were the ones who tried to play Danhausen. Liv did not fix that. Liv did not seem concerned enough when the consequences were happening to them. But now the curse is on her. Now she needs Dom, and that's the receipt tonight. Prior to this, Liv had a really interesting interview prior to Night of Champions. I did cover this in a short that I posted, but the gist of it is that she was just pretty much talking about everybody but Dom. Even when Jackie Redmond was putting it out there, like people accuse you and Dom of using Judgment Day. But Liv didn't defend Dom in that moment. It was Liv just talking about herself, like, I did this, I did that, and it was just really interesting that she did not mention Dom's name at all. And I've gotten some pushback on that, saying like, well, she doesn't want to mention Dom all the time. I'm like, she doesn't mention Dom at all right now. Do you hear her mention Dom's name during any kind of interview or promo backstage on Raw? That's what makes her saying, I need to call Dominik now in that post-show interview really interesting, because she hasn't been talking about Dom now. So now that she's cursed, and now that, all her plans and stuff are failing, now she wants to call Dom. You see what I mean? I just find it interesting that everybody has an excuse on that. Well, she doesn't want to mention Dom all the time. Yeah, but that's an interview. You wouldn't want to mention your girlfriend. But if I have mentioned that Dom doesn't talk about Liv all the time, then, that's a whole nother story. See what I mean? But yeah, that interview was interesting. So probably going back to look at it now after what's happened at Night of Champions will be more interesting. Because like I said, she was just mentioning everybody but him. But Night of Champions has come and gone. And now we have IYO SKY's Queen of the Ring. But like I said, when I first saw Danhausen, I was telling a friend that I wonder if Danhausen is going to curse Liv. And lo and behold, he did. So let's break that down, shall we? Danhausen comes out and he's talking about continuing his experience because he came into substantial human money, which we all know that is Dom's money that he and JD tried to get, and JD got electrocuted for it. Liv comes out and interrupts him. Liv says that he owed the Judgment Day money. Now, keep your thought on this for a little bit. Danhausen denied knowing what money she was talking about. And then Danhausen cursed Liv. And then this is when Liv slaps him, and then she continues on her way, like not caring about it. Then, during the Queen of the Ring match, she loses to IYO SKY. IYO becomes the Queen of the Ring, and then IYO chooses Liv for SummerSlam. And let's break this down a little bit. First, since when did Dom's money become Judgment Day's money? Raquel pretty much intimated on Raw that that was Dom's money that he lost. That's what she did in her rant. You know, she was when she was trying to get Liv's attention on how everybody was. She was like, Hermita, you know, JD's got electrocuted. Dom lost his money, so it's pretty much Dom's money, and it was Dom and JD trying to recover it. It wasn't Liv trying to recover anything for Judgment Day, the so-called leader. It was Dom and JD. So since when did it go from Dom's money to Judgment Day's money? So like now you want to, you know, when you want to make yourself look good and bigger than and as a leader, now you want to claim money. Now that you want to recoup it. You weren't worrying about recouping it on Monday. Like you were all concerned about the Queen of the Ring and being mad that IYO SKY had gotten the best of you, but now when Danhausen was there, now you want to claim it as Judgment Day money.
I'll do it. I'll do it myself.
Um, there were no Judgment Day members present. I was kind of hoping for that, and I'm happy that they didn't show up. There was no Dom, there was no Roxanne, there was no Raquel, and there was no JD. JD and that's to be expected. He's electrocuted, but I'm just really glad nobody was there. You know, nobody's been showing up for her anyway. She was barely showing up for them regardless, so it was just nice for them not to show up for her. Like she lost pretty much on her own. Um, with due to Danhausen's curse, but still she lost on her own. Um, in the show interview, Dom posted a gift that showing bullshit, and I'm like, Dom, you could have really said like, you're still my queen, like Liv did to you. So I just found that interesting that you just posted a gift there. It's just really low effort from Dom. Um, Post show interview, Liv pretty much was denying that she was cursed and that she was going to call Dominik. And this is where I was saying, like, now you want to talk to Dom. Like, you weren't consulting Dom when you were throwing your weight around, you were making orders, you were making plans. You weren't consulting Dom then. He's not like during Monday Night Raw, she was like, oh, Dom, what do you think we should do? She wasn't doing that. But now that you cursed, now that you're worried, you want to call Dom. And on that note, I always find it interesting that people still want to place Liv and Dom together because, like I said, what Liv is doing does not equal what Liv and Dom is doing because they were just trying to put it like Liv and Dom are just ruling. And I'm like, if that was the case, Dom would be winning. Dom will be winning things. Dom will be being obnoxious like Liv is. But he's not. He's in the pool with JD, Raquel, and Roxanne. Like, so how is Dom benefiting from ruling Judgment Day when he's losing? Liv is not coming out for him. He's getting cursed. JD's getting cursed alongside him. There's nothing that props up Dom to be this leader. So I would just find it funny that that some people always try to keep lumping in Liv and Dom when it hasn't been the case. Like, if it was the case, I would expect Dom to be winning more. I would be expecting Liv and Dom to be even doing more joint decisions. Like, even if Dom was losing, I would expect him to be doing more joint decisions with Liv, and he doesn't. But now we have IYO SKY versus Liv at SummerSlam. I'm going to tell you how my feelings on that because I am not really excited about that match because we've already seen it for one, but I'll break down into why I'm not really excited about it, and it does deal with what happens with Raquel and Roxanne. Let me go back over here to YouTube. JD said Dominik might choose Roxanne, maybe that could happen. I mean, it could. I mean, right now JD is wandering around electrocuting and introducing himself, and I always said that it would be funny if JD exposes the secret because he's electrocuted and he doesn't know what he's talking about and he doesn't know what he's saying. So that's a possibility. Ooh, AFC Big Boy is here. Good evening, everybody. He says now it's kind of made sense why Liv was in the tournament, especially if Rhea's injury was that bad. I mean, yeah, I get it, but they still could have did something with Liv because it just took up a spot. I am more upset. Liv being in the tournament wouldn't be that bad if Raquel was in the final or Roxanne was in the final and they were all in the collision course. That's why I'm annoyed with how Liv was in the final because if she was there, fine. But if Raquel and Roxanne was there, fine, that would have been better. But now, if you look at it, what do they do at SummerSlam? Especially Roxanne. And that's why I'm not really looking forward to this IYO SKY versus Liv match. I'll get into that later, though. 850 Big Boy said that's another slip of the mask for Liv. Yeah, she was just. It's a lot of flipping of the mask for her. Sharon K said, "Do you think it's possible if Liv betrays Dom eventually?" I mean, I think she could have done that already, and she had a chance at Survivor Series. Remember all that slapping nonsense? I always think that there's something under the surface where she may think and feel like something went on between Dom and Roxanne, and she's just taking it out on him. And I think that kind of runs parallel to what else is going on with the Judgment Day. Like, I think she probably realized it because remember, Raquel called Dom a habitual cheater. So I think she might suspect, but maybe she doesn't know the full scope of it, if that makes sense. Um, Lone Rebel says, and also with Liv being cursed, I do think the entire day betraying her at SummerSlam would make sense over a random episode on Raw. Also, despite her being cursed, Liv don't tell. But yes, yeah, I had a friend bring up an interesting possibility on the effects of the curse. I'm gonna see if I can remember. Some people remind me to bring that up because I think I need to break down what that curse can actually do for Liv or against Liv. Lone Rebel says the good part is that when it came to the matches in the tournament, we all had these matches on her own, and she had no Judgment Day to help as in the duration of matches. Yeah, like she can't really blame. Now she can blame, and I could expect her to blame, but anybody watching the show would know that she pretty much won. Everything was in her favor. Like she had the least challenging fatal four way because she pinned Chelsea Green. Charlotte Flair was taken out because Jade Cargill took out Charlotte Flair. So when she went up against Io and Danhausen cursed, that's pretty much on her own. Now I do expect maybe she blames Judgment Day or maybe Roxanne and Raquel on Monday. We'll have to see, but. But she did on her own, and the WWE has established that she was winning on her own, pretty much. I also saw somebody saying, like, Roxanne promised she would be there. No, she did not. Roxanne did not promise that she was going to be there at Night of Champions. She just said that she wished that it was going to be Raquel and Liv during the finals. So let's clear that up. 850 Big Boy YouTube says, to be honest, nobody in Judgment Day should have came out to help Liv because she said F them, excuse my language. Yeah, I mean, why would they come out? No, she didn't help them. She's been a detriment to Roxanne and Raquel. So why would somebody come out to help her? She didn't even come out to help Dom versus Oba. Like she did all that for Damien. And I think she did all that for Damien because Damien is still attached to Rhea. That's like a take that to that was a take that to Rhea just for her taking out Damien because they're the Terror twins. And he's still connected to her pretty much. But she didn't come out there to help Dom with Oba. It was JD. She didn't come out and help Raquel with her semifinal and with the in the quarterfinals with IYO SKY, and then in the qualifier with the fatal four way. That was Raquel doing that, and then Roxanne pretty much lost on her own too. She didn't get any kind of help at all. So there was no point for any of them to come out for Liv. Shia says it's bad when Liv hits Dom. I don't like it when the women hit Dom. It's not cool. I don't like it either. I have pounded this into to a blue in the face that I really don't like that because Dom never gets his leg back. At least in AEW, like when Marina Shafir was running around with with John Moxley, she would eventually get her leg back. Like she finally took a buckshot lariat from Hangman Adam Page. Like she eventually got it. So even in AEW, even though they don't do male on female violence all a lot, when it happens, and there's a reason for it, and they just don't let the women just run around and hitting the guys, with Dom, they let the women hit him, and he never gets to look back. And I don't like that because sooner or later, it needs to happen. It happened. It didn't happen with Rhea, and it didn't happen with Liv, and I really do not like that. And that's something. And if they're going to keep doing that, it needs to be rectified. Like even Stephanie hit Dom, and that's why I don't want Stephanie with Dom because she's already hit him. Like I'm tired of women hitting him. The only person that hasn't hit Dom, ironically enough, that's around him right now is Roxanne because Raquel has hit Dom when she was facing Rhea about 2 3 years ago. Raquel has hit Dom. So all the women around him, Raquel, Liv, and Rhea have hit Dom in some way. And I really don't like it because Dom is never allowed to get his look back. And I get it with sponsors with the WWE. I know you're trying to be PG, yada yada yada, but just don't do it. Like, there's one thing for Dom to be running interference, but it's another thing for him to keep getting hit. I didn't even like it when Becky sucker punched him that time. Remember that? But at least, but you notice how they cheated it with CM Punk. Like Becky was slapping CM Punk, and they immediately brought in AJ to rectify it. Like they don't even do that for Dom. Like if you're going to have him hit, where's the woman to counterbalance that? They never do that for Dom. But I digress. Let me go back over here to TikTok. I'm ignoring you guys. I'm sorry. Um, Chubby Boy says, my queen, Chubby Boy, you're always making me blush. Senor says she finally mentions him after the show. Yeah, that's what I peeped hard. Like, now you want to mention Dominik. Like, you haven't been talking about Dominik all this whole time during your interviews and all that. And then they, now you want to, mention Jaden said they opt the MFT. Well, MFT they've been there for a while, and MFT they can still go together. Now, if they get released, then there's a reason for that. But and I don't want to put that out there in the universe, but they're kind of still together. It's more of an ejection of Solo than a breakup of the fraction. When people say Judgment Day implode, they think everybody's going their separate ways, and I don't think that's going to happen. For the MFTs, it was Solo who got ejected. And that's the difference. Cleve says, hey, Senior said, do you think Raquel and Roxy are next? It could be. Like, they could just go through it where all of Judgment Day is cursed, and they could probably point it back to maybe even Liv a little bit because she kind of started this, because she knew what Finn was up to. So maybe she can, it cycles back around where everybody thinks, it's all Liv's fault because she made it about her and then she wasn't taking care of the Judgment Day. Cleve said Dom sent Adam sent him gift. Yeah, I saw that. And Cleve says, do you think Liv is going to crash out of the group on Monday? She might, but it just shows you how self-service she is because there's no reason for her to do that. She did that on her own. She was building herself up. She didn't think she needed anybody. She was all about and then she lost. Maisha says, yeah. And hey, Maisha. But yeah, I do expect a crash out. But I wouldn't be surprised. Shane has said, in comparison, which one was worse do you think? Do you think it was Rhea or Liv? Do you think Liv has been playing both Dom and Judgment Day since she played for her own game? Well, Liv pretty much said that she used Dom. And that's why I said I think Dom never forgot that. Like, I think he wanted his way out from Rhea. And he never forgot. JD says maybe his sister, maybe. Bones Rebel says, do you see a cursed Liv going to feud with Judgment Day once they betray her at SummerSlam while Liv is being cursed, but her getting cheered? Do you think Danhausen lifting the curse off Liv? I mean, it's possible. I don't know. I'm really I'm only now become really interested in Danhausen because he did curse Liv. But prior to this, I wasn't work. It wasn't vibing with me. So now we got to see on that. AFT Big Boy says, I still think something could happen at SummerSlam with Judgment Day, but no with IYO in that spot. Rhea could have been in. Yeah, I mean, I think the callback happens at SummerSlam. It's just a matter of I'm not liking that we've got two Judgment Day members excluded right now. Three, actually, pretty much all of them. Like, Liv right now is the only one guaranteed a SummerSlam match. And I really don't like that because I'm not sure if Dom gets on the card because his Triple Mania match is in September. It's not August. I'm not sure JD gets on the card. I'm not sure if Raquel gets on the card. I'm not even sure if Roxanne gets on the card. So we will have to see. So Aisha says, hey, let me play a little bit and then I'll get back to it. Come on. Oh. Did I mute myself? I think I did. One second. Okay, there we go. Okay. Go here. Okay, so now save there.
Why, it's Raina! You've been quite a stranger lately.
Sorry I haven't been around, Aunt Rachel. How are things going?
Oh, as well as always, I'd say. Oh, found a new man, did you? Worrying Westa to no end, no doubt.
He's not my boyfriend.
Well, you didn't have to shout like that.
Huh?
Oh, nothing.
Well, you're in luck. I've got a lovely vacant room just for the two of you. How about I let you stay there for the night? On the house.
Are you sure that's okay?
Are you okay?
Oh, nothing but the best for my niece on her special night.
I told you already, it's not like that at all. I swear.
Not at all, huh?
Come to think of it, Mr. Flack paid a visit to town a couple of weeks earlier.
Diaz was here?
But he left soon afterwards. Not that he had any particular destination in mind.
I see.
Well, make yourselves comfy.
Thank you so much, Aunt Rachel.
Thank you.
You're quite welcome. Take care of Raina for me, all right?
Yes, of course. By the way, I couldn't help but wonder, who's Mr. Flack?
You mean Diaz?
She mentioned the name earlier, so I was just curious.
His full name's Diaz Flack. He used to live in Aria like me. Something terrible happened to him, though, a long time ago, and because of that, he left the village.
I'll try to avoid the subject then.
Thanks.
Do you mind if I make one request, though?
What is it?
You really don't have to call me Mr. Kenny. It just makes me feel weird when I call you Raina.
Okay, I'll remember that from now on.
Well, let's get ready for bed then. It's getting late.
Looks like it. Good night, Claude.
Good night, Raina.
Diaz.
Well, how did things go?
We had a great night's sleep, Aunt Rachel. Thanks for asking.
Oh, you know that's not what I meant.
Obviously. Okay, so now... I don't think I can say... No, I can't say it. I need to find a safe spot. Ugh. Kevin says, you know, wrestling is fake. Oh, really? No shit. I guess for that. And just for telling me it's because it's fake, because of course it is. Bye-bye. I don't know why people think that's just some big gotcha. Oh, this is the one that called Roxanne a jobber, so it's good. He's gone. Bye-bye. Let's see here. Jacob says tomorrow's going to be a bunch of wrestling pay-per-views. Yeah, we're going to have an NXT Great American Bash, and I think Forbidden Doors tomorrow too. Something like that. I can find a save point. I need to find a save point. Let's see, but here. think it's for... There. Okay, so let me keep going with that. Let's see here. Well, it says also TNA's anniversary is tomorrow as well when it comes to pay-per-view as well. Okay, so it's like 3 of us going tomorrow. Okay. So let's see here. Maisha says, how dare you call Roxanne a jobber? She's a former 2-time NXT champ of all time. NXT man. Yeah, I mean, there's some people just like to cause trouble. I have no problem with hiding people and blocking them. No problem at all. So, alright, so let's keep going. Let's talk about the post-show interview a little bit more. Byron asked Liv if the loss was connected to Danhausen's curse. Liv says no repeatedly. She says, I'm not cursed. He was joking. Danhausen doesn't have powers. It's not real. There is no curse. Then she says, I have to go call Dominik. And that is the receipt. Because why are you calling Dominik now? If there was no curse, why do you need to call Dom? Liv has not been consulting Dom before making moves. She speaks for him. She speaks for me and Dominik. She redirects Judgment Day members. She decides what the group should do. But the second the curse lands on her, she needs to call Dominik. So, like, why are you referencing Dom now? Like, you didn't mention his name at all in the interview when it was all about you and all about, you're going to win Clinton the ring, but now you want to retreat back to Dom. And coming up later, this is important for Raw. Right now, Raquel and Roxanne are outside the curse bubble. Dom has been cursed, JD has been electrocuted, and Liv has been cursed. But Raquel and Roxanne have not been touched by Danhausen yet. This creates an interesting split. There are some possible wrong directions here. Liv tries to pull Raquel and Roxanne into a problem. Liv acts like the curse is fake and spirals anyway. Roxanne watches instead of helping. Raquel gets frustrated because Liv only cares about it now that it affects Liv. And JD brings up he got electrocuted and nobody fixed it. Dom either takes Liv seriously or brushes it off. Danhausen escalates the curse. And then IYO appears to begin the SummerSlam build. So there's a lot of different ways this could go. A friend of mine said, like, what if this curse is, like, affects his fluids where Dom leaves her and then Liv gets ejected from the Judgment Way, and that's the way the curse manifests itself. Like, I'm not sure if she's going to lose at SummerSlam, but it could be just like the curse is just like Dom leaves her, betrays her, and then the curse takes away the Judgment Day from her. And that could be the way we get Danhausen's curse on Liv. Like, maybe it loosens it up on Dom and JD, because like I said, JD could be the one that accidentally blurts out something he's not supposed to, and then Liv just goes through all this spiraling because it's finally affecting her. And remember, Liv was on the WrestleMania truck with Danhausen, so maybe maybe there's some long-term booking there, and they were eventually going to get to this point because now we got Danhausen's and Liz Orbit. And let's talk about SummerSlam. So we got IYO SKY versus Liv. Now, meta-wise, this is not storyline-wise. This is just meta match-wise. I really don't like the let's see, how do I say it? I really don't like this match for SummerSlam for IYO SKY and Liv. One, we've seen it before. And yeah, we have, you can have the same match over and over again, but we've seen it before. Two, IYO SKY's not a good promo. Like, she has the emote, and people like the emote, and, everybody goes crazy for the emote, but she's not a good promo. She's in the same situation, maybe even worse than, like, Stephanie Becerra. And I just don't think that IYO could carry the promo side of this feud. Now, Liv isn't all that great either. I know people keep saying she's a good promo, but I don't think so, because how come you keep screaming, "I'm the greatest of all time," ad nauseum, all the time? Like, I don't think she's really that great of a promo either. But with IYO, it's just so limited. Like, I'm not looking forward to it. We got 5 weeks to SummerSlam. And and this is where, you gotta have promos and maybe fighting and things like that. And we're supposed to have this build between Liv and IYO when they're both limited promo. Now, they can cover a little bit of this with, the Danhausen curse, but still, that's not focusing on Liv and IYO. That's just something outside. That's like something affecting Judgment Day. So it's still not, it's still something that's not really a part of the actual match, the actual feud. It's like everything happening around the feud. And that's why I don't like it. Like, and I'm just not looking forward to it. Like, I feel like IYO's just going to become secondary to whatever's going on with Judgment Day, when they could have just slotted in a Raquel or a Roxanne, and it would have made it more interesting. Like, if you slotted in Raquel, then you would have the Judgment Day drama and the story, and and everything could have been going on.
Here. And be cool with it.
So that's my issue with IYO. Now, for SummerSlam, another reason why I am not really looking forward to it is because what happens with Raquel and Roxanne. Because Raquel got redirected to Sol Ruca, and Roxanne currently has no one. And the thing with Raquel, yeah, she can go in with Sol Ruca, but I have a feeling they're just going to build up Raquel just so Sol Ruca can get a major victory off of her. I would not be surprised. So they'll use this 5 weeks to probably build up Sol Ruca and Raquel. They'll make Raquel look menacing and intimidating as they can, and then right at SummerSlam, or maybe near SummerSlam, they'll snatch it away from her. Because they keep doing that with her. And I don't like it. So I really don't think Raquel, unless they just do something where they just do something unexpected, like they did with Night of Champions, and they just give Raquel a title, then I really don't see Raquel winning the Intercontinental title. And besides that, the Intercontinental title should have been going to Roxanne, which has actually nothing to do. So what does Roxanne do? Like, there's no other title. The other title's on SmackDown, but that's kind of tied up right now. So, what does Roxanne do? So, like I said, as of now, Liv is the only one with something guaranteed for her, and everybody else, we might get to SummerSlam. And even in Sol Ruca's case, it may not even end up on SummerSlam. And then, this is not even accounting for JD and Dom. Like, are they going to carry the Chad Gable thing all the way these 5 weeks to SummerSlam with Dom? Because JD's got a match, I know, next week against Chad Gable. So is it going to set up then, and then next it's going to be Dom? See, this just feels like another like one and done match with Chad. Like, Chad will run through JD, and then he'll run through Dom, because I don't think Dom's going to win that match with Chad Gable, unless they're trying to reestablish why, Dom being the menace because he initially gave Chad Gable the mask, unless they want to do something like that. But I don't see how that drags all the way out to Minnesota, because I do think they want to put Chad Gable against Penta, and maybe Dom gets into a multi-man, but I almost think that JD needs to get into that multi-man. Like, you would have a multi-man intercontinental match at SummerSlam between Penta, Chad Gable, JD, Ethan Page, Rusev, maybe Dragon Lee again. And I don't see where Dom fits into that. So it sounds like more likely than not, all of Judgment Day bar Liv is just going to be tied up in the Judgment Day drama and the storyline, and they won't have any place on the actual card, which really, really sucks. What is that? How did that get? Hammerai, I don't know what that got hid. Why did that get hid? Harry, see if we can send that again. I don't want that to hide. I don't know if that was the moderator doing that or not. So, let me go back over here. Maisha says, how dare... Okay, I read that already. Senor says, your thoughts on Sammy's victory? Like, I knew they were going to either pull the trigger like, when he was in Saudi Arabia, so that was expected. I just didn't expect him to do it this soon. I thought it was going to be, like, Cody winning, and they would carry something else out. But they pulled the trigger, and they didn't let King Yeet come into existence. Like, the big surprise of the night for me was Jey Uso not winning. I was like preparing myself for that, because I am really tired of Jey getting stuff and Jimmy not getting stuff, and I'm really tired of Jimmy being the redheaded stepchild. And so when he didn't win and it was just Oba pretty much running over him, I'm just glad that Oba won that match. Maisha said, what is the three-way match? What kind of three-way match, Maisha? Senor says, Liv had better promos in 2024. Yeah, because she wasn't depending on the greatest of all time. She's, like, got this whole greatest of all time slogan now. It's kind of like Yeet. Like, she's just spamming it too much. You notice with LA Knight, yeah, he still does a promo with it, and he doesn't spam it all the time. With Jay and Liv, they just spam that I'm the greatest of all time, and it's just annoying, and it makes my ears bleed. So, Cleve said, did you notice Don was on the TV during the segment on last Monday? Yeah, he was behind Roxanne in that final shot. Shine Kelly says, Don's gonna start showing more frustration with Liv when she starts showing her true colors, and he sides with the others with her or breaks up with her. Yeah, I think maybe he's on the fence, but I think he's checked out for a long time. It's just that now it's probably just gonna start revealing itself. Shane Kelly says, especially when he's only supporting Liv and Liv doesn't support him when it matters. Yeah, that's the big one. Like, I know Dom hasn't shown up to Liv's matches, but he's done everything else. He was doing a Valentine's Day date. He was announcing her as the Royal Rumble winner. He was doing his support in other ways. Liv hasn't done that. So, and then Dom has actually done more. Um, he's done more support of Liv. Like, he was helping her win matches. He was helping her retain in 2024. He was, helping her get matches for the tag team titles. Like, he's done that. So, Dom has done exceptionally more than Liv when it comes than Liv has done for Dom. So, let's see here. I should say it could be Liv versus Raquel versus IYO. I don't know how they can slip Raquel in there though. I don't say that. I'm not saying it's not possible. I'm just not seeing how they can slot it in because they've already kind of redirected Raquel to the Intercontinental title. Like, I expected if it's going to be a three-way, if she's healthy enough and if she doesn't have visa issues, it's probably going to be Stephanie and Bakura, so they could just kill two birds with one stone, probably. So... Hurry says, now everyone in the Judgment Day has a chance or reason to betray Liv. If Raquel betrayed Liv, choose her as SummerSlam is like a betrayal already considered. However, betrayals being a bigger advance. I mean, yeah, they do have a reason now. I mean, if Liv comes in hot and asking where they were, even though she wasn't there for them. Like, she wasn't even guiding them, like, on how to win. She just was straight up there and using a whole bunch of I language. Like, Raquel wasn't even using I language when she was in the qualifier. Even Dom, he just didn't mention Liv at all. He was just saying that he was going to be king of the ring. But it wasn't like they were going I. And Roxanne was focusing on Judgment Day. Like, Judgment Day, a win for one is a win for all. And that's what Roxanne was focusing on. But Liv, it was just like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to be queen of the ring. That's just, she was just really focused on herself. Laura Rosa, did you get my message I sent in the live chat, Ryber? I haven't. You might want to resend it again. I know the last one I got was you talking about TNA Slammiversary. So, Lone Rebel, you can do that. Let's see. Let's see here. So, let me see something here. One sec. Sean Kelly says, I think they need to stop making Dom look like the supporting role for the group and actually let him show his real skills so he can improve and be better than the scared guy who runs sometimes. I mean, that's all we wanted. We wanted Dom just to be the leader. Like, this is Judgment Day was pretty much his. It didn't need to go to Liv, and then Liv came in, usurped everything, and took his feud with Finn. That's what really ticked me off. Like, it's one thing to have Bonnie and Clyde and stuff. Like, I could deal with it if they were actually Bonnie and Clyde, a lot of triple line killers, and they were actually doing stuff together and being menaces together. Like, I could deal with that, but it's just, everything just got refocused onto Liv. Like we keep saying, after Liv returned, everybody's booking with the shit because Raquel went down. You know, Raquel was doing fine, and Dawn was doing fine last year when Liv was injured. Raquel was rebuilding herself up. Dawn was having some great matches and winning on his own, and then Liv returned, and then that all went away, and that went bye bye. And it's just really annoying because Raquel was on this upward track, and now it looks like she may not even get a major title. And then with Dom, he was doing things on his own. He was winning, and then everything went away there. I mean, he got the IC title back, and then he loses it immediately, and they didn't capitalize on him beating John Cena. But then they have all this stuff for Liv. Like, she comes back, she starts winning, she wins Royal Rumble, she gets this, she was getting the upper hand on Stephanie McCure, she was pulling off things where she was starting to emulate Triple H when it relates to Booker T, if you know, you know. And then the only major loss now is at Queen of the Ring. But someone said to me, like, it feels like they were just starting to speed run Liv's thing, because even with Rhea, even though Rhea was getting annoying with how she would win all the time, she was not getting all of these victories like back to back to back. Liv is, and I'm like, are you speed running? Is her contract running out? Like, what's going on? Because there's no reason for that, and that's another thing that contributes to the exhaustion. Because why are we speed running this? Why is she getting everything so back to back? So she had run Queen of the Ring, that would just been another accomplishment on things. You know, that's an accomplishment that could have went to somewhere else. And I really don't think IYO SKY should have been Queen of the Ring. I really think that should have been Raquel. Like, why can't Raquel get the, a major accolade like that? Roxanne can wait a little bit. I don't really like it, but she can wait. But Raquel, she could have used that accolade. It's kind of like how they never let Raquel win against Rhea when she should have. They never let Raquel win against Stephanie when she should have, and I really hate that booking for her. Shane Kelly said, we need him to be an actual leader. Maybe we do some more training for a while or something. No, Dom doesn't need training. He is perfectly fine. I mean, he's not going to do all the... He's not all the glitz. He busts this out when he needs to. He actually had an interview on that. But his training is fine. It's just that they don't book him right. And that could go for a lot of people in the WWE. Because look at what happened to Carmelo Hayes. He lost to Ricky Saints, and he was gone for a while. Now he's gone again. And he's a good wrestler. So... Lone Rebel says, as I feel like Liv is going to get betrayed at SummerSlam by the entire group, which makes more sense when they betray Liv. If they betray her past SummerSlam, as in having it drag out, what's the point? They've been dragging it too long. And I get Triple H likes his long-term booking, but there was no reason for them to drag out the Finn thing if they're just going to hand it to Liv and then Dom doesn't get his match with Finn. Like, Dom gets one match with Finn, it doesn't touch on none of his history, and then it's gone. Because they dragged it out so much. Dom could have faced Finn last year for the title last year. But we don't get it. And then we didn't get any lore beats. Now, they're talking about OG Judgment Day versus this new Judgment Day, and I might need to talk about that a little bit. But let me play a little bit more. Okay, so let me go back here. I'm gonna go meet the king, and then I'll probably wrap it up. Wait, hold on. Let me go sell some stuff. Did I just sell something? Ooh. Did I just sell an equipped item? Ugh. Good grief. I'm gonna reload. Crap. Okay. Of course, I did it. Reload. Reload. Because I sold something. Crap. Okay. Okay. So let me go back over here. Okay, let me go. Buy this. Need to buy that. Okay, buy that. And then okay, yep. And now I'm gonna go sell. I need to turn the music back up. Oop.
Get this hook over here and leave those hooks. Right. Right here. Stretch. Shoot at the same time. Quick setup.
Okay, so that. Okay, there we go. Okay. Turn the music back up. Oop. Okay, so let's go over here. Seafood. I don't need this right now. see.
Excuse me.
Look, it's
Oh, I'm sorry.
what was this dude's name? I forgot his name. Later.
That man, he had 3 eyes.
I forgot his name. Okay, that's another step. Let's go. I mean, alright. Alright, let me, oop. Of course, hitting the thing. Alright, let's see. Harry says the JD were coordinating as a family when Liv was injured. Everyone had titles. Now only Liv. What's crazy is Finn, Priest, and Rhea were kicked out because they acted like the leader, which Liv is now doing. I mean, yeah. I mean, commentary keeps bringing that up. Like, they bring up the whole leader thing. If you start acting like the leader, you get kicked out. That's why I keep saying, like, why do people keep trying to loop Dom in there when Dom should be the leader, or at least acting like a leader, but he's not doing that. It's Liv. So you can't loop them together. Right. And I think they just wanted like Liv and Dom leaving, but Liv and Dom have pretty much already done what they need to do. What else can they do right now? Other than getting married, which that's something that probably should have been happening around Paris time if they wanted to capitalize on something. Um, like there's nothing else for them to do, relationship wise. Shannon Kelly says, Dom is my favorite wrestler. He's great. I think they shouldn't make him lose if he can stand up to 7 foot tall guys in AAA and she'd be able to do that on Monday. I hate when people talk about Nepo Baby. Like, there's actual Nepo Babies where they were horrible, and I don't see that with Dom. Like, even if Dom wasn't skillful, I think he's a leaps and bounds better than a lot of these other wrestlers that have been Nepo Babies. Like, look at what happened with Ted DiBiase Jr. Um, um, Cleve says she says she's not going to use the group for her own benefit, but help them succeed. Like, she hasn't even been doing that. Khalib says, I don't see JD beating Chad Gable when he has memory loss. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I don't see JD winning. I don't see Dom winning, actually. So here comes this big, long losing streak again for Dom. So... Okay, so Raw preview time is JD versus Chad Gable. We know about. I don't think anything else has been announced. We might get an announcement tomorrow. But I don't like we say. I don't think JD is going to win that one. We're probably gonna get Night of Champions fallout. We might have to see if Liv wins or is going off on Judgment Day on Monday. Um, Also, we have to see. Um, we gotta see how Liv is reacting to Danhausen, like what that happens there. Um, like if Danhausen comes up again with Liv, things like that. I was gonna say something else, but the thing to look for is watching for Don's response, Raquel's response, and Roxanne's response. GD is still electrocuted, so and if JD blurts out anything. Um, I had something else I was gonna talk about, now I forgot. Let me see. Let me see. Let me go take a look on the X. Let's see if I can remember. Um,
What's children? Doesn't say how old.
um, I didn't really like before I finish this all up. I really didn't like how Braun lost, even though I think he just barks a lot. Braun Breaker. I don't like how Seth Rollins just wins again. Like, what's the point? He won what 2 3 weeks ago, and he's winning again. Like, I never did like that, but I did like Sammy winning. I did like Oba winning. I liked IYO SKY winning, even though she would have been my choice in the match. But Tiffany and Jade, I really don't care about. I mean, they're just setting up Jade versus Charlotte, so it is what it is.
Microbiologically unsafe or unknown quantity.
Mm, Let me see. Hmm. Yeah, now I can't remember what I was gonna say. Crap.
So if it breaks down, can you take a freon from the refrigerator and put it in that little
Let's see.
ice maker? No.
Like, why do people keep putting this on here? Liv is leaving WWE in September to try and have a single singing career, probably setting up a split. Like, what? gonna just start hiding people because this is ridiculous. Delete. Okay, Liv is having Dominik's baby. Okay, what is this? Oh my gosh. Instagram. Check something real quick there. Okay. Jacob says, "Are you going to be reviewing the Great American Bash for tomorrow?" No. I mean, I'll probably watch it, but I'm not going to be reviewing it. Now I'm trying to think if I want to do a review of this. I might put this out Monday or something. I don't know. Break it down more. Let's see. Okay, Lone Rebel said, "Would you say that Camilla was a terrible wrestler when it came to a Nepa baby wrestler in her being a wrestler when she was second generation?" I think Carmella was pretty decent. Like, I didn't really have a problem with Carmella. I think they kept the title on her too long, but I don't think she was a bad wrestler. Like, who was that? One of the women on Eric's or something like that. Like, that was bad. What was it? The Ted DiBiase Jr. Like, he wasn't all that interesting. Like, there's some other Nepo BBs that I would put down there as not somebody that wasn't really good. So, Harry says, "To me, if Io wins, as I think it will be mostly for Raquel to dethrone her and to become the new Women's World Champion." I mean, they could do that too, but I just don't see how Raquel could get in there. See, that's why I would keep saying, like, Raquel should have been in the Queen of the Ring. Like, give her a chance to get in there. Gwendolyn says, "Was watching Supergirl, so I couldn't be on my phone. Sucks like they did my girl dirty and it flopped, but it is what it is." Yeah, Liv is going to blame them, not herself. They're done with her. Yeah, that's what I'm just expecting. I'm expecting her to blame them, even though she wasn't there for them. She's probably going to wrap it up like, "I've been doing all this planning for you, and I've been doing all this, but, it's never, it's never something positive for them." Like, we'll see if she focuses more attention on Roxanne or not, but it's not like her plans have helped. Like, the whole Danhausen thing, like, had she just given in to some of the demands for Danhausen, maybe it had been different, but she didn't. That fell on JD and Dom. So, Lone Rebel says, "Also, when it comes to Liv late last year, she resigned with the company, so she's going to be in the WWD in 2029. She isn't going anywhere in some sense." Like, yeah, it just feels like they're speed running her for some reason. Like, Rhea got a lot of accolades, but Rhea was spread out for a bit. And there was a time where she wasn't wrestling, so it wasn't like all this time where wherever you saw Liv, it was just, or Rhea, it was just like she was winning something or talking about something, things like that. It was just spread out. Let me see. Let me see. What else is there? Lone Rebel said, Lacey Von Erich, when she was in TNA, was with the beautiful people when she was only hired for a look. She was terrible. Yeah, that's who I talk about. That's who I think about when I think about terrible Nepo babies. TJC said, I didn't know you were live. Happy I just happened to be on TikTok and you invited me. Yeah, I mean, I tried to announce it, but I'm late too, so. Um, Maisha says, if Liv never talked to Dan, this man never would have happened. Like, yeah, she didn't have to engage him like that. Like, she brought everything on herself. She slapped him. See, that's the thing too. Like, she hauls off and slaps Danhausen. Like, even JD and Dom didn't like put hands on Danhausen. Like, JD just like wanted to take whatever Danhausen was working with, um, but Liv put her hands on Danhausen. She was all demanding the money, even though she she's the one that started the whole thing. She got the ball rolling. So what happened to her with Danhausen was her fault. TJC says, I think Ric Flair's son of Bad Double Babies. Yeah, I was trying not to mention Ric Flair's son, but yeah, David Flair. Yeah. Shane Kelly said, do you hear that Dom's sister is training to be a wrestler or training at the PC according to Ray? I saw the interview about that and about the stuff. Yeah, I saw Aaliyah in there. I know the other Guerrero is training. I want that mixed tag, like brother and sister, hint hint, nudge nudge, of Dom and I think which Guerrero is there's a Guerrero daughter. She's training. And I want her to get into WWE so bad because you can run that mixed tag with Dom. He's saying like he wants to go to his real sister and it's the Guerrero. Keep the bit going. Harima says, I think next week I do see Liv blaming everyone except herself, and I see that the betrayal is similar to how Tatum got betrayed by the Cohen. But I do expect Dom and JD to in the SummerSlam kickoff. They don't do kickoffs anymore. That's the bad thing. Like, I don't see them I just don't see them on SummerSlam card right now, unless they get thrown into a multi-man. But we'll see. We got 5 weeks. Gwendolyn says, plus now Liv turned heel. It makes sense why you're turning the babyface too. There's basically no one that can be the number one babyface besides Liv. Yeah, I mean, I know people keep wanting Roxanne to turn, but she hasn't been presented like the face. Same thing with Raquel. Even though they've been treated badly by Liv, they haven't gotten that sympathetic booking. They haven't been given the commentary bits like Finn got. And see, when Finn turned face, he went back to his original thing. CM Punk was talking him up, saying that he's better than this, and he had commentary hyping him up. And then with Raquel and Roxanne, they're not getting that. They're not getting that. It's not like somebody, like a face is coming around to them saying, hey, you're better than this. You don't have to deal with this. Finn did that for Roxanne, but Finn was being self-serving on that. If they wanted to do something to talk to Roxanne, it should have been somebody else. It shouldn't have been Finn. Because she peeped what he was trying to do immediately. So they don't have that booking. Yeah, Liv has been treating them badly, but Liv's been treating everybody badly. And it's in a similar track to how Rhea was treating everybody and Damian was treating everybody prior to they getting kicked out in 2024. So, right now, Liv is pretty much the only one that can turn, because all they need to do is just have Dom turn on her and the rest of Judgment Day turn on her. And the crowd wants to cheer her anyway. So it's easier for Liv to turn face than a Roxanne or a Raquel. And I don't think, and Dom, he's probably not, like I keep saying, he's not going to probably turn face until he has his match with Ray. And even then, he might still be like a tweener. TJCC. Apparently, she and Dom were really close too. Then the two of them and Delia apparently used to run them out. Yeah, like I can see Zilla. Zilla is friends with Dom, and that Guerrero chick is friends with Dom. So that might be a new group coming in right there. Zilla's supposed to be signing with the WWE too. Jacob, do you mean the name Sherilyn is the name you're referring to? Yeah, I think it is Sherilyn Guerrero. Senor, did you forget Roxanne hit Dom in the face with the mega title? That was an accident when she was in a tug of war with Bayley and Bayley let go. It's not like she hauled off and did it on purpose. And that was to build up, like, Roxanne's losses. But that wasn't an intentional hit. I know people are going to try and spin it that way. Oh, Roxanne hit it. But he went and checked on her immediately afterwards. So he wasn't like he held it against her. Like, if he was that upset about it, he wouldn't have checked on her like that. He would have been checking on Raquel or something like that. Jacob said, do you hear about what the Undertaker wants to do in AAA? Yeah, and he shouldn't be around that. He also said he wanted, Dom and Liv versus Ray and Aaliyah. And I'm like, they had a lot of time to do that match in AAA. It should be happening now when Dom is about to not be a champ. And why would Liv need to be in AAA now? Like, Liv hasn't even shown up. I don't even want Liv in AAA. Like, we got stuff going on in AAA that doesn't involve Liv, and Dom doesn't have to deal with Liv in AAA. Like, let him do his own thing. He doesn't need to be down there. Gwendolyn says, I've said it before, when Rhea went to SmackDown, people called me crazy, but Stephanie has also told Liv, I respect you, Liv, and you're better than this. She also called her a role model. Soul also called her a role model. See, yeah, that's the thing. Like, Stephanie was saying, like, you're being better than this, but you're hiding behind a trashy man, referring to Dom. So, they've already built up the face turn with Liv with just that positioning. Like, Stephanie come back and have, like, a match with Liv, and she'd be like, okay, you proven yourself. If Liv beats her without the Judgment Day. You see what I mean? It's easier for that. But Raquel and Roxanne do not have that type of positioning. Let me see if I could just go ahead and finish the King version of this, and then I'm done. Okay, now that we're in the castle.
This is the front desk for the audience chamber.
This is the place. I'll write our names in for you.
I see you're here on behalf of Mayor Regis of Alia.
Yes, sir. I'd like to have an audience as soon as possible, if I may.
Very well. If you could kindly wait until I make the arrangements.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome to look around the castle until the time comes.
That would be great. Thank you. We're in, Claude.
Oh, cool. Okay, same way. Alright, so. Wait, let me go back this way. Nothing there. Click that. So, alright, so let's wrap this up, shall we? Let's see. Go back over here. Linda said, notice how Liv also said you owe the Judgment Day a lot of money and not you owe Dom a lot of money. Again, she's brushed it off as Dom isn't important to her. That's a simple way of saying it. Yeah, I pointed it out, like, since when did it become Judgment Day's money? That was Dom's money. And even Raquel said that, like, on Monday, like, you know, Raquel said that Dom lost a lot of money. So since when did it go from Dom money to Judgment Day money? And, like, you weren't even concerned about it on Monday, so why are you concerned about it now? Like, why you know, why all of a sudden now, when you want to throw your weight around, it becomes Judgment Day money? And then she didn't even care, like she, it also shows, here's another bit, it also shows that she didn't really care about how Danhausen was affecting Dom and JD, because she had a front row seat to what happened to JD. JD got electrocuted. And Dom lost his title, pretty much. I know Finn was in there too, but that was like two contributing factors there. So she had to know what Danhausen does, and then she had to know about what Danhausen was doing to The Miz and to Kit Wilson and what he's doing to Matt Cardona. So why did she think that she was going to be immune to like, you saw what happened to JD, and then you just brush off the curse like it was nothing, and you know, you slap him, like, so it really just shows like how little she paid attention to Danhausen, or she just didn't care. Like, she didn't care about the curse on JD, she didn't care about the curse on Dom, and she didn't care because, and then even though she knows what happens to Kit Wilson and The Miz, she still just didn't care. And then now that she's cursed, and then now that she lost the Queen of the Ring, now she's scared, and now she wants to talk to Dom. And I got a notification. What was that? I got a new follower. Sweet. Harris says, I don't know how when Stephanie will return, but I do think she will not be done with Liv, so I'm confused about the babyface turn. Well, she can still come against Liv, and still Liv can still turn babyface. It might be like a slow burn babyface turn for Liv. It doesn't necessarily have to be like a flip where she's automatically a face. It could just be like they could probably do it like Trick Williams. Like she's still acting cocky about it, or she's just so down in the dirt that Stephanie still comes back and goes to peace with her, and then she fights back, and then that's how she gets Stephanie's respect. It's not necessarily like Stephanie comes in like a heel either. Like it could be just like Stephanie wants to get revenge. Um, Liv is like, hey, she's like at the like at her lowest of the lows. They fight, and then that's how Liv gets Stephanie's respect, and they can even have it where Stephanie goes after Raquel and Roxanne a little bit, and that kind of merges up with Liv. Oh, now I remember, since I remember people talking about teaming up. Have y'all seen I've seen a couple of TikTokers talk about OG Judgment Day versus the new Judgment Day. And it's something that's possible, but what irks me about this arrangement is that they keep forgetting about Raquel and Roxanne. So, they say they could set up OG Judgment Day versus New Judgment Day. So you would put Finn back with Damian and Rhea, and then you would have Liv, Dom, and JD. But the major problem with that arrangement is that it disregards what happens to Roxanne and Raquel. That's why I always have a problem with people saying that Raquel and Roxanne are going to turn on Liv, and I'm like, okay, so what are Dom and JD are going to do? Like, you can't, even if you think Dom goes with Liv, like, what is Dom doing when Raquel and Roxanne are attacking Liv? Are they just twiddling their thumbs? They got to be doing something. Like, you're cutting off two people here in Dom and JD. So when people talk about OG Judgment Day versus New Judgment Day, they are missing Raquel and Roxanne, and they don't explain where they are. Like, okay, what are they doing? Like, you can't just say that they exited Judgment Day. And why is Liv going up against, and the whole thing is unequal anyway, because you have Dom and JD going up against Damian and Finn. They're going to lose that. Like, the only one possible is just probably maybe Liv and that, so that's an automatic loss. So why would you do it like that? Now, I do think OG Judgment Day versus New Judgment Day is possible, but I wouldn't have it in this current configuration that people say. I would have it where it would be Damian, Finn, R-Truth, Rhea, and then Liv. Because they've been throwing out crumbs for Liv for brutality. So it would be Damian, Finn, Rhea, Liv, and R-Truth. On the New Judgment Day side, it would be Dom. It would be JD. It would be Raquel and Roxanne, because they can go up against Rhea and Liv. Now, for this other person for Judgment Day, other guy, I'm not sure on. Maybe that's somebody new. Maybe that's somebody from NXT. Maybe that's even Zilla. Maybe Zilla doesn't join the Bloodline. Maybe Zilla is somebody that comes in and helps out Dom. Somebody that can help Dom can help him get established. You could do a lot of things with this. You could do like even Otis or something like that. But, you could have another third guy to fill that role that R-Truth occupies. So you would have Dom, JD, some other guy, and then Roxanne and Raquel. And then that all winds up. And then you can have them clash like at Survivor Series, or you can have them do some kind of crown jewel thing, or they could just have them like a mixed match. You can do like if they do like Survivor Series War Games and they want a traditional Survivor Series match, you could do it like a mixed Survivor Series traditional match there, and it makes sense. And that's how you get OG Judgment Day and New Judgment Day. So that's why, and that's what I wanted to bring up because I'm like, everybody wants to keep saying like OG and Judgment Day and New Judgment Day, but they keep cutting out Roxanne and Raquel. That doesn't make sense. Also, for the turn, like for Raquel and Roxanne versus Liv, like why are you cutting out the reactions to Dom and JD? But here's how I would do that. If you want them to do a turn, I would do this at SummerSlam, and this is what I would do. You could even have Liv win this one because I really don't know if Liv IYO SKY wins the title. You could have Liv win, everybody celebrating. Liv is up on Roxanne's shoulders and Raquel's. And you see where I'm going with this? I would do the Triple H Batista Orton spot. Liv is on Roxanne and Raquel's shoulders. Liv is celebrating. Dom celebrating. JD celebrating until Dom does the thumbs down. And then Raquel and Roxanne drop her and start attacking her. And JD doesn't have to do much here because he already did something big against Finn. So this will be Dom's establishing moment. Like he does the thumbs down. Raquel and Roxanne turn on Liv. Or you can even have it where, and then you just have that, so that includes everybody in kicking out Liv. Or you can even do it like this, where you have it where Dom gives the nod to Roxanne to attack Liv. Roxanne attacks Liv, everybody's freaking out. Liv goes crawling to Raquel because that's her sister, and then Liv is crawling to Raquel. She thinks she's got comfort in Raquel, and then Raquel gets that signal from Dom again, and Raquel turns on Liv. And that really establishes Dom as a reverse Rey Mysterio because I really think they're going to do that with Dom. Like they'll have it where Dom is the one where everybody forsakes their family for him, and it's a reverse of Rey Mysterio because Rey would always turn against his family and friends for somebody else. You see what I mean? So it's a reverse Rey Mysterio. And that's what happened with JD. JD turned against Finn. That's his dad. That was his mentor. So it was already established with JD. So it'd be easy for Raquel to turn on Liv and help Dom because Dom has been really supportive of Raquel. Like that's another undercurrent on the storyline. Dom has been really, really supportive of Dom. Dom has been really supportive of Raquel. Like, he supported her in her championship matches. He never spoke out, he's never said, I think Liv should be going for the title when Raquel was going for the title. He's always been supportive. So, it's not a stretch for Raquel to have Dom's back on that because Dom has had her back, and it's been enough water under the bridge. There's been enough water under bridge between Raquel and Dom because of Rhea. Like they've had enough separation. They worked it out, and then they kind of rebuilt the trust there. So that's another way that they can do it. So that's two different ways. You can have OG Judgment Day versus New Judgment Day, and then you can have how Liv gets kicked out. And that's how I think Liv can get out. I would just go for the Triple H Batista Orton spot. It's cleaner. You just do Dom doing the thumbs down. That's the betrayal. You don't even have to roll in Roxanne and Dom in a romantic sense at that point. You could just pull the whole just Dom turning on Liv because he's tired of it. Gwendolyn says, yeah, then Stephanie can become Team Liv for War Games too. Yeah, you can do turns like that. It doesn't have to be Liv can still be a babyface and Stephanie can still come after her because they're remembering history, but it's something that just establishes Liv more as a babyface because she's fighting and clawing to get that respect from Stephanie because, she knows she did Stephanie wrong. That's something you can do. Gwendolyn also says, yeah, you can't have them just stand there and do nothing. It muddles the turn, and that's not how the faction works. They are missing the point. JD and Dom must also turn their backs and align with Roxanne and Raquel. See, that's my thing. Why is Dom and JD always cut out of those conversations? It always irks me. What are they doing? They can't be twiddling their thumbs. They can't be elsewhere because everybody needs to react. The only reason why Roxanne wasn't involved with Finn because she was out still injured, or she was recovering from her surgery. That's the only reason Roxanne wasn't there. But everybody else was there when Finn decided to bow up on Dom. So it doesn't make sense for Dom and JD to not have a reaction. And why would Dom and JD like stick around Liv because what Raquel and Roxanne do? Because JD is already kind of he was already introducing himself to Raquel after he got electrocuted and flirting about it too. It was hilarious. Go back and watch Monday Night Raw. Dude he was flirting when he reintroduced himself to Raquel. So like you're cutting out two people in the whole plot there. Lone Rebel says, but if Liv gets kicked out of the Judgment Day, we could see OG Judgment Day as Rhea, R-Truth, Damien, and Finn, and Liv against New Judgment Day of Roxanne, Raquel, Dom, and JD, and Shawn Spears. I'm gonna pull up Shawn Spears. Shawn Spears is I think, is a mentor trainee, like a trainer coach, and I wouldn't put Shawn Spears in that position. That needs to be either somebody, a heavyweight, like a Tony D'Angelo. Like I'm gonna keep pulling for Tony D'Angelo. It just makes sense. Dom already has a connection with Tony D'Angelo. They don't have to really reference the whole mafia thing with Tony D'Angelo, but you can always just say that Dom and Tony have this connection. They went to jail. They went to jail together. They've been in the yard. Just do something like that really quick, just to shore up the history again, and go from there. That's a connection. They have the connection already. I would just say Tony D. I don't know anybody else in that position that you could slot in there except for Zilla, and that's possible unless they want to throw him into the bloodline stuff. But maybe they don't want to throw Zilla into the bloodline stuff. Like, why would you add? What would you do with this other person anyway? You already got an enforcer with Jacob. You got a tag team with Jay and Jimmy, and then Solo might slot in there too. So what is Zilla gonna do with the bloodline? Unless they're going to be taking over both shows, and that's just going to really, really suck. But still, what do you do? Hannah says, I don't think Finn will side with Rhea and Priest and Liv because I think he hates all three if they're playing a new Judgment Day versus OG Judgment Day. Well, they keep having Finn and Damien talk. So I would not be surprised if they slowly get over it. Like, maybe something happens and they slowly get over it. At least they're addressing the history there and the animosity. So they're at least doing that. They're not rewriting history like they did with Rhea. But I wouldn't put it past them to, like, have them slowly get over it. Like, maybe Damien realizes that, hey, I wasn't asked. Because he wasn't asked to Finn. I will not accept the rewrites of Finn causing all of Damien and Rhea's trouble. Damien wasn't asked to Finn, and Rhea wasn't asked to Finn. Because Damien cost Finn the world heavyweight championship. Like when he would come out to tease cashing in. So Finn had every reason to hate Damien and turn on Damien because Damien did pull that shit. It's kind of like how Liv is now. Like, there's a reason why Raquel would be upset with Liv, and a reason why Dawn would be upset with Liv, and Roxanne would be upset with Liv. So there is reasons there. But maybe Damien realizes, like, hey, I cost he was a friend, and I cost him all these opportunities because I wanted to be champion. They can do that. And with Rhea, that's a little bit more trickier, but they can spin it like, they can spin that more with Dom. Like, maybe Finn was thinking, like, he was the mastermind on his stuff, but it was actually Dom. Downplay Liv a little bit here. Like, you can just go, like, hey, maybe Rhea's like, yeah, Finn did this, but he was being manipulated by Dom, and we all know how manipulative Dom can be. So you can do it like that. And it puts Dom as the manipulator heel instead of just being somebody that gets led by the nose. And if you want to spin Liv into that, if you want to bring Liv into it, you can even just say, like, hey, Liv was thinking she was running stuff, but ultimately it was not. Dom was ahead of her all this whole time. You can do that. Um, Harry says, since everyone says Dom will ditch Liv for Roxanne, what if Dom ditch Liv for Raquel? There were some people that, when I pointed out the habitual cheater line, that was saying that Dom will go for Raquel. I wouldn't put it past them, but I just don't see the setup there with Raquel as it is for Roxanne. I'm not saying that it won't happen. I just don't see the setup. I don't see the breadcrumbs for that. Like, Roxanne has done the setup for Roxanne has done the setup with Dom compared to Raquel. And Raquel looks like she's all with JD. So I can't break up JD and Raquel. I can't. I want that to happen so bad. Um, Lone Rebel said, also, if they do have another female in Judgment Day to replace Liv in the Judgment Day, I do see it being Lyra or Stephanie turns heel when Liv tries to earn Stephanie's respect. I really don't want Stephanie to turn heel. I really don't. Because Stephanie's already hit Dom, and I don't want that. That's just me. That's me personally and selfishly. I just don't want people around who have hit Dom. Like, Raquel has, but that was like years ago, and she hasn't done it since. Like, I'm talking about intentionally. With Roxanne, she hasn't. And again, I'm talking about intent here. Like somebody hauling off and slapping Dom, things like that. Senor said, what if JD wants to recruit Lyra? I think Roxanne wanted to recruit Tatum. But, they could, but I'm not sure where Bird Girl goes, but who knows. TJC said they're going to use the curse to break Liv down and have it be the only way she can win in AAA. And they could, but they got La Catalina going down there, and I kind of want La Catalina to win that Rena de Rennes from Flammer. I really don't want Liv around AAA. I'm so serious. Maisha said Roxanne has not hit Dom. I think he meant Finn. Khalif says does the secret come out during the SummerSlam? I'm saying that it might come out with JD. Like, JD is the one that's kind of forgetting stuff. Like, I wouldn't put it past him to, like, blurt something out. I would not. Like, he's going around, like, after his match with Chad Gable, he's, like, loopy, and he just blurts out something. You see what I mean? And maybe it's not something that Liv registers. Maybe it's something that Roxanne and Dom registers, and they're trying to shut JD up. That's what I think. Like she said, or they can attack her before this match start. I see them as brothers and sisters. And she but she says Tatum. Yeah, like, I like Tatum. I love Tatum, actually. I want Tatum and Kalani Jordan to come up. So if Tatum wants to join Judgment Day, I have no problem with that, because I think she actually fits Judgment Day. Lyra, I don't really think so, but Tatum, yeah. Gwendolyn said, yeah, that's the whole thing about Liv and Rhea allying and Finn and Damien. They were all asses to each other. Rhea has no room to talk. She started it, Liv finished it. Yeah, that's another thing, too. Like, Rhea did start it with Liv. And Raquel. Don't forget that, too. But, it's almost mutual at this point with Liv and Rhea. Now, if they want to really hash things out, they can kind of go back over the history, but they've all been asses and jerks to each other. So if they want to get over it, bury the hatchet, hey. Lone Rebel says, as I have OG Judgment Day, New Judgment Day, I can't see it being Rhea, Damien, Finn, and Bayley. We have Leah versus Raquel. No, JD, Lyra, Stephanie, and Roxanne. Also, Leah was a tag champion with. Yeah, I don't even know if they're gonna bring back that Aaliyah. I know who you're talking about, the Aaliyah. I know she's trained with Liv and tag with Raquel, but I'm not even sure they're gonna bring her back. So it might. Let's see. Oh, somebody's talking about Big Jim. Like, somebody's really like, can Big Jim get something? I'm like, yes, thank you. Somebody, he needs to get, like, I'm segueing here, but it's really annoying how Jimmy is treated like this redheaded stepchild. Like, why can't he be placed like in a position to go after the Intercontinental Championship? Like, let him do that. Like, you're putting, Roman's all like, oh, you're gonna be king and all that. Like, what is Jimmy, chopped livered? Like, this is where I want Jimmy to turn on him. Like, I'm so serious. Like, turn on Jay, turn on Roman, turn on Jacob. Like, he's always, why is Jimmy always being like the peacemaker to all this stuff? And then he's the one losing to LA Knight when Solo speared him. Like, speared him in the throat with his thumb. Like, Samoan Spike. Like, I'm so over it. I want so bad for Jimmy because he's a better promo. He doesn't get gas. He doesn't get blown up during the walk-in. Like, he just deserves a lot better. I think that's it. I think that's it. Yeah, I think I'm done. It's getting late. So to wrap things up, these will be interesting. We will have to see how everything happens. We have to see what happens on Monday. If you haven't noticed, I was really, really happy that Liv lost. Like, you don't know how happy I was to see Liv lost. Like, I was happy. I had like the first half of the volume turned down. Like, I was gonna see what's gonna happen, then I was gonna go back and watch it because I'm like, I really don't want to hear like greatest of all time if she wins. So I had everything turned down. So the first surprise of the night for me was Oba winning, and then the second surprise was Liv losing, and I was really happy on that. So, yeah. I was just happy. So we will have to see. Hopefully this Judgment Day saga keeps rolling. Hopefully we get something. We need, again, like I keep saying, major storyline advancement. That's all we need. It doesn't need, at this point, it doesn't need to be small. We got 5 weeks to SummerSlam. And they need to keep using all this momentum to get us to SummerSlam and get the whatever happens, major happening at SummerSlam to happen. Senior said, do you think Naomi is winning Royal Rumble 2027? If she's back, yep, I can see it. Rose says also why I added Bailey to that. Not only Bailey feuding with Lyra, it's also because Bailey has been like a big service ever since her back in the day. Yeah, so you can do a lot of stuff with that. But I think I'm just gonna finish it. I'm trying to decide if I'm gonna do a video tomorrow. I come out on Monday. Just depends on how I feel. I think it'll be okay regardless. Let's see. I have to see. But I'm going to go ahead and end this. And, of course, I need to... Huh? Oh.
Did you make sure the door was closed?
It should be.
Remember she went outside to go do it? She might have left the door open?
Okay. But yeah, I'm gonna be ending. I will be back Monday to see about the fallout for Monday Night Raw. Remember, Monday Night Raw is early. I think it's at 6. Monday Night Raw is going to be on earlier at 6 because they're doing a double taping. So we will see Monday Night Raw at 6 instead of 7. So be aware of that. Or is it 6 Eastern? I think it's 6 Eastern, 5 Central. So be aware of that. So let me check one more time for any more comments, and then I'm gonna skedaddle. Yeah, so yeah, remember that Raw starts at like 6 on Monday. So yeah, please remember Raw is earlier on Monday. But until next time, I'm going to bid y'all all adieu. I will see you all guys on Monday. I'm trying to decide if I want to do a video for tomorrow, and I might not. It just depends on how I feel. But